How will direct digital marketing model change with the introduction of POPI?
Well, I think that the biggest change to the model is this change from an opt-out sort of method of consent to an opt-in. So in the past, I mean, the emphasis was heavily on, okay, let's get the customer's details and we'll start sending them direct marketing. Whereas now it just inserts an additional step because you have to actually get their consent in the first place. So yeah, that I suspect, so what's going to happen in sort of real life is that you're going to find that you have smaller lists, but they're going to, if you do it right, be higher quality contact because that person will already have made up their mind. They want to engage with your content. Yeah.
During the presentation, you talked that POPI is still coming. It's not officially or yet. What can marketers do in the meantime to make sure that they're prepared?
I think that the most important thing is that they need to do a little bit of sort of investigative work. A lot of companies that we found is that they're unable to get ready for POPI because they don't know where the data came from in the first place. They have to be prepared for the answer, we don't know, we didn't keep a record. And then you need to think of a strategy, A, to clean that data, which is a good thing to do anyway, and B, okay, are we now going to contact these people to ask them for their consent again? Are we going to follow a slightly riskier route and just communicate to them about how we respect their privacy, you know, and give them an additional opportunity to unsubscribe? And then one that most direct marketers do anyway is to absolutely 100% ensure that they have the unsubscribe little URL, whatever the method is that they use, the short code, in their direct marketing material so that a person can unsubscribe easily. It should be 1-2 steps tops. Yeah.
In South Africa, playing devil's advocate here, many people say that laws are brought into effect, but they're not regulated because regulators don't have the ability or the resources to police and control what is brought in. Your views on, well, firstly, who is the regulator?
Okay.
And secondly, do you think they have the ability to police the POPI Act?
So, the head of the regulator is Advocate Ansi Tlakula. I have a lot of respect for her. She has got a history in sort of data privacy and is very enthusiastic about this. But of course, I mean, the devil is always in the budget. And, you know, South Africa is going through a time where austerity measures are put in place, so, you know, they limit budgets. And that is essentially why sometimes legislation does not get enforced right off the bat. So the pattern tends to be that the regulators fall around for about 4 years and then they find their feet and their budget. And then things start to change. And we've seen this over and over again with media-based sort of legislation, so like consumer protection law, etc. It's only now starting to be enforced actively. But for me, the point is that the reason why you need to respect people's privacy and give them control back over their personal information has nothing to do with regulations or a regulator. It's got more to do with keeping your customers happy and keeping your customers, full stop. So for me, you know, we've been doing information governance and privacy related projects for the better part of a decade. And the reason why we do that, even though there's no legislation in place, has to do with reputation and also with operational efficiency, ability to execute sales strategies. You know, if you think about something like data quality, that's just good business. So, you know, if you are currently sort of ignoring information governance, then it's probably in your best interest, just from a sort of profit point of view, to give it some attention. But as you say, you know, a regulator is rarely a very good reason to do something. Yeah.
During your presentation, you talked about the negative elements for the marketing industry of POPI. Are there any good things that this act will bring to the marketing industry?
So let me make the following statement right off the bat, is that I think it's a very good piece of legislation. One of the reasons I say that is because it will improve our ability to service international clients when it comes to data-driven services. So whether that is marketing, whether that is analytics, whether that is designing you know, user-friendly applications or websites. Because what's happening at the moment is, if you have a European client, so the customer sits in Europe, and they want to send you their database because they know it's cheaper to use South African companies because of the exchange rate. They can't do that because we don't have privacy legislation. So then they have to have these really sort of draconian contracts in place. And that puts South African businesses at a disadvantage. And that was one of the driving forces behind POPI. It's also why POPI follows actually a new piece of legislation that's going to come in Europe on the 25th of May, the GDPR. POPI was based on a previous version of the GDPR, which is fantastic, because it means also we can look at the European jurisdictions to see what they did. So that for me is the main positive. I also think that it will weed out some of the noise. You know, one of the biggest irritations I think for direct marketers often is that they all get painted with the same brush, whereas we know that there are responsible direct marketers, and then there are the guys who are really sort of delivering spam. And POPI is going to make it harder for them to do what they do. So for me, those are the two sort of biggest sort of, you know, positives in POPI. I really don't think it's all negative. I think most of the requirements in POPI just forces you to be better at what you do, which is never a bad thing.
It's coming. When's the official date?
There's no official date yet, so the information regulator is playing her cards quite close to her chest there. They say that they will announce the date in the second quarter of this year, which means that there's at least another year after that for people to become compliant. Their focus at the moment is on helping industries to become compliant. I don't think they're going to start enforcing the act right off the bat. It will be more of a let's collaborate and get everybody compliant kind of approach, which they've said in their media statements. So at the moment we're working on 20 months kind of guesstimate, and it is a guesstimate. Any lawyer who tells you that they know when it's coming into effect is flat out lying, which is not unheard of. So yeah, 20 months I think is a conservative but a good guess. But as I said, you know, these things are good business. There's no reason not to start thinking about it now.